Okay, this is standard 1D and E, and today we're going to look at the development and importance of writing. Specifically, we'll be talking about the Mesopotamian cuneiform, Egyptian hieroglyphics, and the Phoenician alphabet. Okay, looking at these pictures, the question asked is, what do you see? These are all different types of writing, but you can see some differences. In the top left is cuneiform. The bottom left is Egyptian hieroglyphics. And then you can see the Phoenician alphabet there to the right. They're similar in that they're all made of lines to a certain extent, but different. If you look at the alphabet, the symbols are much more simple than they are in either the cuneiform or the Egyptian hieroglyphics. Okay, writing developed in history because of the need to keep records. As people were trading, as people were giving one thing to a person in exchange for another thing, they needed to keep track of what they were giving and what they were receiving. So that need to keep records led to the development of writing. Eventually, however, people didn't just keep track of what they were buying or selling, but they began to keep track of events that were taking place. And so with the invention of writing, we also have the invention of history. Now we are able to record events and look back at those recordings and know what happened hundreds and thousands of years ago. One of the very first forms of writing was cuneiform. This developed in Mesopotamia. And cuneiform, as you saw on the last page, is kind of a wedge-shaped impression. Mesopotamians used a stylus to put those wedge-shaped impressions into clay, and then they would let that clay harden in the sun, and that was their form of writing. Excuse me. In Egypt, their form of writing is called hieroglyphics. So this is a little bit different from cuneiform. Egyptian writing is what we call pictographs. So each of those pictures that you saw in the Egyptian hieroglyphics represented a particular word or idea, concept. That's the idea of a pictograph. A picture represents a word or a concept. Now, in Phoenicia, they developed a system of writing which was named after its first two letters. The first two letters in the Phoenician alphabet were Aleph and Bet. So that's where we get this term alphabet. What made the Phoenician alphabet superior to both the Mesopotamian cuneiform and the Egyptian hieroglyphics was the fact that it was phonetic. This meant that the Phoenician alphabet was easier to learn. It was easier to learn the Phoenician alphabet than it was the other two. It was easier because it had fewer characters. Alright, instead of having to know hundreds and thousands of different symbols, one only had to know somewhere around between 20 and 26 different characters. And the reason why that worked is because those characters, unlike cuneiform and unlike early hieroglyphics, those characters stood for sounds. So you could combine those characters together to come up with many different words. That concludes the standard 1D and E discussion on writing. We'll see you next time.